Jurors in the YSL RICO trial end second day of deliberations without a verdict. The jurors then ask a few bizarre questions to clarify a few things. Of course, the first day of deliberations, there's some drama. Miss Love jump scares me, you'll see that. Hey, subscribe, don't channel membership, let's go boys. Alright, so the camera cut on late because the cameraman wasn't notified or something, but jury's asking for more clarification on the wording of intent and intent to distribute and whether they have to group some counts together. They're asking to view some videos, specifically the Texaco gas station, but they weren't specific about how many angles, because apparently there's a shit ton of angles, obviously, of the Texaco gas station, inside, outside, about the Diamond Thomas murder. So it's gonna be like basically Yak Gotti walking around inside the gas station and everything. They also are asking for more copies of the indictment. Man, the audio is not on yet. Come on.
I think that the confusion is when one is a predicate of the other.
Yeah, I think that's what they're struggling with.
I think the correct response is, as alleged in the indictment, that if a offense is listed as a predicate.
I mean, I'm not going to say predicate because maybe just say like if it's dependent upon or something like that.
Right. Yeah. They would have to prove out every element alleged in the count, including.
I mean, that's already in the instructions to the jury that they have to consider each of the elements. I mean, could the response just be a referral to the jury instruction?
It could be, but it would be unbelievably unhelpful if we did that.
Well, I guess I'm still struggling with exactly what their question is.
Clarification on the wording of intent and intent to distribute. I mean, to me, this seems very simple and obvious, but intent to distribute is drug possession for more than self-use. It is having more drugs than someone personally would use. The police must show evidence that a person intended to sell or distribute these drugs. This charge is classified as intent, not just possession. So, I mean, I don't really understand what their question is either. But clearly the jury's taking this serious, and they didn't rush a verdict.
They're dependent, yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's why they're asking that, I think.
Your Honor, one other thing that comes to mind is with at least the firearm count, the machine gun is removed, but there's multiple firearms in the house. Right. I'm trying to find what the number was, but in our instructions we had, sometimes there's multiple ways to commit an offense. That specific instruction may aid them if it's in relation to,
Right, if that's what they mean. But yes, considering that, and I can explain that, you know, they don't have to have possessed all of the guns as long as they find that they possessed one of the guns with the requisite intent or whatever, if that's what they mean.
Yes, Your Honor. And the other state's thought on regard to, I do think it's appropriate, and as you know, each individual count they have to evaluate on its own merits. Obviously these counts relate with one another, but I think that principle of law is...
Well, I mean, yes, they need to consider them individually and reach a verdict on each separately, but they are interrelated counts, so that's why they're asking. So
yes, Your Honor.
If their question is regarding the possession of marijuana issue, because that seems to be the thread that runs through these three, right?
Yeah, I think
the only thing they have in common. So I guess I'm still struggling with their question. If the issue is the marijuana, then if they don't find the marijuana, well, obviously they have to find it as well.
It's easy enough to start with 58, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute.
Yeah.
You know, I can say these are the elements, and they want to understand what intent to distribute means.
I mean, does their question seem to be more if they don't find 58, then they can't find 61?
I think so.
Yeah, and I think that would be maybe what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And then obviously 57, they have kind of two options there, as I see it.
Your Honor.
Yes.
To make it smoother in terms of the surveillance video?
Yeah.
For the barbershop footage, there is 5 videos and really 4 angles. One of them captures the shooting, one of them captures inside the barbershop, and then 2 of them capture the street in front of the Daniel Street itself, but doesn't capture the shooting, and one kind of faces the Texaco. And with the Texaco footage itself, there's a lot of surveillance video from the Texaco with different camera angles. I believe there's as many as 7 or more. So I have an idea in my mind. I don't want to assume which specific portions they want to watch, but for example, some of the vehicles at issue, like when they arrive, some arrive as early as 8:40 or 6:41. And then they leave at 7:20 p.m.
Right.
There's different softwares that play those, but the state's getting in a posture to be able to play those surveillance videos. But if we have clarity, at least with the Texaco, it can be a little cumbersome to pull up the different cameras on the fly. So I just wanted to, if there's any more clarity on what specifically with the Texaco, because it captures almost 2 hours worth of footage, some of which is irrelevant for purposes of you don't see any suspects.
Well, I'm sure that they don't want to see a part that they never saw to begin with.
60% of you aren't subscribed. Come on, hit the subscribe bell.
Yes, Your Honor, I agree, but there's many different portions that could be relevant. There's a portion where Mr. Kendrick walks in the store. There's a portion where different vehicles leave or arrive that captures 50 minutes worth of footage.
Jesus, bro. Periodic reminder, 90% of the time you'll cut yourself trying to figure out what a question means for deliberations, and it's not possible. So he's saying you're just going to drive yourself crazy as a defense lawyer, especially trying to predict why a jury is asking these questions. Good for defense on RICO, but could be bad for defendants on individual counts. If I were forced to make a read, that's what I'd say as well. I just gave up on trying to read them. Mr. Weinstein replied back saying, "This is why I must currently be on life support." Jesus, poor dog.
maybe very specific events, so to speak, or times of that they want to watch. But I just wanted to highlight that for the court.
So would the idea be to cue each of them up, the portions that were shown before, and say, do you want to watch this? We can do that.
Yes, Your Honor. Or if they were able to describe an event or something that came up in closing, or something to orient what they want to watch. Like, we want to see when the Pontiac arrives, or we want to see when, and they may not be able to give that clarity, but I just wanted to highlight that because it may make it more efficient when we publish it.
Ideas on that?
I think if we just ask in a non-leading way.
Yeah, that he doesn't want to lead them. That's the issue with that. Damn, this is all very risky here.
What portion of each, because my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, in a note they said something about McDaniel Street.
Right. It said the drive-by shooting. I mean, that one we know what they mean, right? And the Texaco Northside McDaniel Street.
I wish we had the audio to hear the note exactly.
I believe I know what camera they want to see from outside the barbershop. But even with the barbershop, we had 4, I think, different cameras.
So
if we just get clear.
if everybody thinks they know which of each it is and y'all agree, then we can just start with those and say, is this the one you mean, or is there another one?
With the Texaco, though, I'm not sure which one they mean because there's so many different cameras at the Texaco. With the McDaniel Street barbershop, I'm pretty confident.
Well, I don't think it's the one from inside the barbershop.
I think it's probably the one that shows the actual shooting, I'm guessing.
Well, we can start with that one.
Yeah.
And then say, is that the one? There's another one. Would you like to see that one too? And they probably will say yes, honestly, but.
That's fine with that, with the barbershop. But with the Texaco, there's so many options. I think we have to ask them what they specifically want to see.
I mean, do y'all want to put a description of each of them together and send it out and say, circle the one or ones you want to see? I mean, I don't know how else to.
Well, we could just ask them, do they want to see the inside of the Texaco or the outside of the Texaco?
Okay. I mean, that much we can do.
Yeah.
Everyone's being so careful on not leading the jury here. The jury probably should have been more specific on what they want, but I guess not.
Ask them to let us know whether the video from the Texaco they want to see is the interior or the exterior, and if they can give us any more detail about what they want to see.
57, I think I misspoke on 57 where I said there were 2 ways. Rereading 57, count 57, it looks like without the possession of the marijuana, they can't do 57, 58, or 61. So that may be what they're referring to. Because of the possession of a firearm during commission of a felony in 57 requires 58 and 61, which is the marijuana again. So that may be what they're talking about with 57, 58, and 61, is the possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Because wasn't there also a question regarding intent that came to us?
Yeah, on their second one, they said, please clarify the wording intent to distribute and underline the word intent. So I'm looking for where I explained intent to distribute and intent right now, and we'll see.
I'm gonna be honest, boys, the defense lawyers look pretty nervous about this situation. Shannon's asleep, he's not nervous.
The intent to distribute is defined at the bottom of page 23.
Yeah, which they have out with them, so obviously that's not helping them.
Maybe they just can't find it.
Maybe. I mean, I'll read that part over to them.
Sounds like one of the jurors could be doubting whether or not the state showed evidence that anyone was trying to sell drugs. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm just kidding, I don't know. It's my uneducated, stupid ass guess.
So on that, I would propose to say that for possession with intent to distribute means that Mr. Kendrick, frankly, if you go back to the knowledge part that I charged on page 13, knowingly and intentionally participated or helped in possessing marijuana, intending to unlawfully deliver or sell it.
Yeah, I agree that incorporates the proper definitions.
So the state must prove.
Your Honor?
Hang on. Sorry, I just need to get this down and then
Hold on, nerdy ass Adkins.
let's turn our phones off. That's one of the jurors' phones. It's in a box over here. Okay.
One of the jurors' phones is ringing. Whose family member or friend is calling a juror when they know they've been on a jury and it's deliberating for a year?
You can go figure out and like put them all on vibrate or something. All right, yes.
Part of the instructions the court had read that may be helpful is where it's page 11 and 12.
Okay.
It describes criminal intent. Intent may be shown in multiple ways. It starts right on the bottom of page 11. Intent is an essential element of any crime. And then I believe it continues to discuss about intent right through the middle of page 12 and then goes on to describe party to a crime. But that instruction about intent could also be beneficial, the state believes.
I mean, the most helpful part of that is it means the intent to commit the act that is prohibited by a statute, which is specifically with regard to this one, intending to unlawfully deliver or sell marijuana. I'm thinking about saying on intent to distribute, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, the state must prove that Mr. Kendrick knowingly and intentionally participated in or helped in possessing marijuana, intending to unlawfully deliver or sell it, and find out whether that.
Do they have any evidence of him doing that? Like, he was in Thug's house. Well, no, they actually arrested him running from the house, but do they have evidence that it was his weed in Thug's house? Like, any evidence of that? That's what's so bizarre for the Kendrick charges, man.
That sounds like the right course to Mr. Kendrick. When you have a second, I just want to go back to 57, 58, and 61.
Sure.
Regarding their question about the separateness and relatedness, whatever term they used of 57, 58, and 61,
Yeah.
perhaps it would answer their question if you went back and explained that possession of marijuana with intent to distribute is a required finding of each of those three, and that may help explain that.
Okay.
Bro, this man Shannon is knocked.
Intent may be inferred from the proven circumstances or by act.
What the f happened to Miss Love's head? I just got jump scared, dude. I didn't sign up for this shit. She shaved her shit.
Intent may be inferred from the proven circumstances or by acts and conduct. Did the court respond to that?
I'm not planning to read all of that unless when I read the first part and ask them if it covers what they're asking. If they say no, then I'll circle back and read that whole part. Yak was getting into the car, camera in front of the station. Y'all understand what that means? Okay, and then number 2.
Yak was getting in the car. They're using his name Yak and not his real name. Does that mean something? I'm overthinking this. So they want to see Yak getting into the Pontiac because he only talks to the people in the Infinity at least.
The drive-by shooting in front of the barbershop on McDaniel Street on Donovan Thomas.
Okay.
They clarified that one for us too.
Judge, there are 4 camera angles of the drive-by shooting, so we'll be prepared to play one of them or all of them, whatever they prefer. There are 4 different camera angles of the drive-by shooting.
Defense lawyers are making faces they don't like that.
I'm presuming they mean the one that actually shows the shots, but there.
I would think so. So let's start with that one and ask them, is this the one you meant?
Okay.
Yes.
So they added, Mr. Weinstein, also, please have Attorney Weinstein clarify if he said, my client's watch, or where is the watch regarding the Richard Milley watch, which is in no way, I mean, it's a total red herring. And good for you for distracting them, but that is not an element of anything they're supposed to be considering.
I don't.
They're taking something Doug Weinstein said. That's literally what they're not supposed to do. It's not evidence. She said it's a red herring. Holy shit. So why would they ask about the watch? The only thing I can think of is if they're confirming that it's not Yak's watch, because that could indicate he's living at the house. Remember the state was trying to say he was living there at some point for a little bit, but there really wasn't evidence of that.
I believe that was a red herring and it went to the credibility of law enforcement.
That's
and their
true,
witnesses.
but-
So I would disagree with that characterization.
Anyway,
of the
what
court.
did you say?
I didn't say his watch. I probably said the watch. If I said his watch, I would have misspoken.
Okay, so I will just say, Mr. Weinstein did not say my client's watch. If he did, he misspoke.
I probably said, where is the watch? That was a 30th birthday
Where
gift.
is,
Oh, Miss Love is pissed. Watch this.
Mr. Weinstein did not say my client's watch. If he did, he misspoke.
I probably said, where is the watch? That was a
Look at her.
30th birthday
Where
gift
is the
from
watch?
Drake to Mr. Williams.
All right,
And
so
a great
I'll just
sentimental
answer
value.
that he said, where is the watch?
Your Honor, would the court be inclined to respond that what the attorneys say is not evidence?
Yes, that's
and that
exactly
should
the
not
idea.
be even a consideration?
Uh-huh.
Rather than telling you
Yes.
what he said. Thank you.
I mean, I'll get to do both.
It was definitely the watch.
I'll just say, Mr. Weinstein said the watch. However, what the attorneys say is not evidence. How about that? Does that work?
I mean, honestly, kind of two dumbass questions, the intent questions at least. The video footage of Yak, I understand, but clarifying intent and intent to distribute and a watch question are kind of f***ing stupid, to be honest, boys.
How about after giving them the definition or the explanation of possession with intent to distribute, moving on to whether you need to group counts 57, 58, and 61 individually or separately, you need to consider them individually and reach a verdict as to each separately. But possession of marijuana with intent to distribute would need to be proven for count 58, count 61, and count 57.
Yes.
And I put them in that order because that's kind of the order that 58 is possession with intent to distribute. 61 is possession of the gun while you're committing that crime. And then 61 is if you're committing that crime, are you then potentially committing gang activity?
Yeah, I understand. That's a far more natural order than they appear in the indictment. So.
All right.
So making sure they got the correct order.
All right, are we satisfied then with the answers? I think I'll have them watch the video and then answer their questions.
The intent is to play the Texaco footage first?
Yeah.
And then will they tell us when they want us to stop because they're at the Texaco for about 36 minutes? So
Did we watch 36 minutes?
it was all introduced, every
Okay.
bit of it.
I think they requested a very specific.
Whoa. No. You're not about to show them 36 minutes of gas station footage, bro. They specifically said Yak getting into the car. We're only showing Yak getting into the car. Look at Max's reaction to that.
Did we watch 36 minutes?
It was all introduced, every
Okay.
bit of it.
I think they requested a very specific part of that Texaco.
Yeah.
Did they mention entering a car?
The gas station when Yak was getting into the car, camera in front of the station. So I think we start there.
Yeah.
And then
When he was getting.
I'll just,
Into the
that's what
car.
it says, when Yak was getting into the car. So, I mean, do a little bit that leads up and a little bit afterwards.
Miss Love, why are you making that face? That's literally what they said.
If it's any more than that, I'll just say
I hate her, dude. I hate her. Jump scared me, dude.
what you
3
wanted.
times. So do we need
Well,
the
then
last time?
play each time he gets in the car, I guess.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Shannon is still asleep. Bro must have got woken up early today. All right, the jury's coming out. Clarify all these questions.
The first thing we're going to do is watch the videos that you all requested, and then I'll move on to answering the questions. All right, go ahead with the first one.
I thought it was just supposed to be Yak Gotti getting in the car. This is him leaving the car.
Excuse me, Your Honor, may we approach?
Doug is asking an approach because this is way more, right? I thought we were supposed to see like a 30-second clip of him getting in the car.
Yes. Do you want me to stop the video?
Yes, please.
Okay. We're not sure exactly which getting into the car you meant, so we're just trying to show all of them for y'all, okay?
Now Hilton's asking to approach. What's going on? Holy shit.
We're going to stop sharing, and then fast forward to the next point that he gets into the car.
Okay.
So this is the Infinity, right? And this is the Pontiac. Yak never enters this Infinity. They say he did it off camera somewhere. They pretty much have no evidence of it, and they're charging him with murder.
So that was the second time he got in the car. Now we're going to fast forward to the next time he gets in the car.
So it's Yak walking up to the driver's side. They say Shannon is in this car, by the way, remember? And Doo-Wop and Nard, right? Oh, wait, no, that's Shannon right there. I'm tripping. Oh, wait, no, that's Yak right here on the right. 100%. I don't know who this is. That's Bushi, I think, the girl.
All right, does that satisfy what y'all wanted to see on
No,
that?
that's not the last time he got in
okay,
the car.
all right, sorry.
We're fast forwarding.
Sorry, thought y'all said 3 times.
Jeez, Miss Love snapping at the judge. All right, that's a good look in front of the jury while they're deliberating. Dumbass.
Does that satisfy what y'all wanted to see? Y'all are nodding yes. Okay, all right. Now we'll move on to the barbershop video.
Gonna have to blur this barbershop video because it's a shooting of Diamond Thomas. Sorry, guys.
Does that satisfy what y'all wanted to see on that, or is there a different angle or more that you want to see? That's good. Okay, moving on to the questions. Mr. Weinstein said the watch. However, remember that nothing that the attorneys say is evidence. Moving on to the next couple of questions. On count 58, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, the state must prove that Mr. Kendrick knowingly and intentionally participated in or helped in possessing marijuana, intending to unlawfully deliver or sell it. Does that cover what y'all are asking with regard to that one? Yes, okay. All right, moving on to whether you need to group counts 57, 58, and 61 individually or separately. You will need to consider them individually and reach a verdict as to each of them separately, but possession of marijuana with intent to distribute would need to be proven for count 58, count 61, and count 57. Does that cover what y'all wanted to? Okay. All right, then I will excuse y'all to continue deliberations. Thank you.
And they deliberated for another like 4 or 5 hours and then went home. And they'll be back on Monday because there was no verdict, clearly. Some bizarre questions, but I mean, I understand they're trying to clarify things. And they're taking it serious. It wasn't rushed before Thanksgiving like some people thought. My prediction of a hung jury, I think, is becoming more real here. Hit subscribe, join channel membership. Love you guys. Peace out.